Mario, it's my turn to speak or the president's?
Yes, I just told him that for him to speak in short sentences so I can translate more easily.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So, President, under those extreme circumstances, I'll keep my questions short.
Can you hear us?
Yes, President, can you hear me, President?
Consegue ouvir? Presidente, consegue ouvir a gente?
This is
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes. Can you hear us, President? All right,
Okay.
so we have...
I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think I can hear you, Mario, in particular.
Oh,
I have a lot of friends in Brazil that are saying they can't hear. It goes on and off. There's
everyone, so Anna, everyone, okay, so everyone, anyone needs to use the VPN. This space, as expected, is being actively censored. We have the former president of the country being actively censored. And we are trying to sort it. This is extreme circumstances. President Bolsonaro, can you hear me, sir?
O senhor consegue nos ouvir, presidente?
This is crazy.
So Mario, I think it's because you can't see him. You need to bring him down and bring him back up because you couldn't see him right on this.
I can see him now. I can see him.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And we are still trying to, we might have to bring him down up. President, you are, okay, he's just dropped out as expected. So we had the first, just so you know, the main account was being censored. He could not join the space and he had issues accessing the main account as soon as the space started. Then he created an alternative account. We were bringing it up. I followed that account to make sure that, to be able to see him, bring him up. As soon as that happened, we could not invite that account anymore. He couldn't join the space. He couldn't request. We have screenshots of the error. And I was using the account of an ally of his, a friend of his, who's a deputy federal prosecutor, I think, Mario. Can you say who Mr. Neto is, Mario?
I'm not. I think he's in the military. I'm not too familiar with him.
He's a federal representative just like us, and also a former captain from the police.
So a former captain of the police and an ally of Mr. Bolsonaro, President Bolsonaro. And now that account, within less than a minute of the president speaking, is facing issues. He's been removed from the space. We're trying to bring him up. Just to kind of show the extreme.
Can you see him, Mario?
Yes, I cannot see him, but hopefully we can hear him. President Bolsonaro, can you hear me, sir?
Presidente, consegue ouvir o Mario Nelson?
Estou ouvindo bem. Depende da tradução aqui.
He said he can hear you quite well. He's just waiting on me to translate whatever you have to ask.
Appreciate it. So, President, as the former president of the fourth largest democracy, can you please tell us the experience you're facing right now for the basic right to speak on a social media platform?
Presidente, como ex-presidente da quarta maior nação, maior democracia no mundo, o senhor poderia contar para a gente a experiência que você está tendo só de conseguir entrar e acessar essa live aqui, esse space, por causa da censura que o Brasil passa hoje?
Eu passei 4 anos aqui no Brasil sendo acusado de o tempo todo buscar a censura, fato que não aconteceu.
He
Do
said,
outro lado,
eu vou traduzir rapidinho e aí você continua. He said that he was always accused, as president, of being in favor of censorship and pushing censorship. Pode continuar, presidente.
teve um juiz da Suprema Corte que estava à frente do Tribunal Superior Eleitoral que foi para a censura em cima de páginas da direita apenas.
So he said that there was a member of the electoral court in Brazil, which is a branch of the Supreme Court, that actually engaged in the censorship, only targeting conservative accounts.
Durante a campanha eleitoral, quase todas as páginas derrubadas ou desmonetizadas eram páginas que me apoiavam nessas eleições.
The pages that were targeted during the election season specifically were basically all pages and social media accounts that supported President Bolsonaro during the election.
A censura continuou, foi potencializada e o objetivo do governo federal e desse juiz parece que é destruir a direita no Brasil.
So the censorship not only continued, but it's expanded over time, and it appears that this judge who's doing this, his objective appears to be to destroy the conservative movement in Brazil.
Essa investigação essa preocupação nossa, ainda bem que apareceu uma força vindo dos Estados Unidos, porque o governo Biden não cumpriu com a sua parte para que a liberdade de expressão se fizesse valer aqui para o Brasil.
So he's saying that he's thankful that there's people in the United States, and a person in particular in the United States that we know who it is, that's finally voiced the concerns of millions of Brazilians today about censorship, because President Biden did not collaborate with pushing for liberty and freedom in Brazil. He was not an ally to defend and push for freedom for the Brazilian people.
Essas pessoas são perseguidas, algumas conseguiram asilo nos Estados Unidos, outras foram detidas, outras têm a Polícia Federal invadindo as suas casas para calar a voz da direita no Brasil.
So there are people that have their social media accounts banned, their bank accounts shut down and frozen. There's exiles, Brazilian in exile due to the policies in Brazil. It just appears more and more consistent that this is a targeted objective to shut down conservative ideas and the conservative movement in general. So.
A esquerda aqui tem o apoio da imprensa oficial. E nós não temos. E, obviamente, só restou para nós as mídias sociais.
The left in Brazil has the direct alliance and partnership and support of the traditional media agencies in Brazil, the traditional media companies in Brazil. They're connected and they work together. So the only thing that the conservatives have on their side available to them to fight back on narratives or any information whatsoever is social media.
President, I do have a question for you. You did mention the US, and one of my questions was about the involvement of the US, if any, in the investigation you're facing, in your passport being confiscated, and in you and your allies being censored. Was the US or is the US involved?
Presidente, ele quer elaborar na questão do envolvimento dos Estados Unidos na censura e na política brasileira, se o senhor puder elaborar um pouco mais.
Eu acredito
que você tem sobre isso.
Eu acredito que tem a censura que veio dos Estados Unidos para cá para ajudar um governo de esquerda. Não temos provas sobre isso daí. A gente espera que o trabalho que está sendo feito pelo Congresso Nacional, os depoimentos que vocês terão no Congresso dia 7. Bem, como é possível ir da Elon Musk para falar também da sua posição, o que ele tem de informações, pode nos ajudar aqui no Brasil.
He believes that there was absolutely an alliance from the Biden administration with the left in Brazil. He doesn't have the exact evidence in hand to say so, but he does believe that. He is looking forward to the hearing that is taking place in Congress, May 7th, which is this upcoming week, for the hearing in the U.S. Congress about censorship in Brazil. He spoke about Elon Musk participating and providing more information on what the exact details of the censorship was, but he's looking forward to that.
President, this will be just for the audience. As you know, the president's first alternative account was censored. His main account was censored, and he's now using an ally's account to speak with us, to be able to simply speak on a social media platform. That's just for the audience. But Mario, the next question for the president, the former president, is the following. Mr. Bolsonaro, you were the president of the fourth largest democracy. You are being blamed for an alleged coup. You're being censored. I'll continue. Translate this and I'll continue, Mario.
Presidente, o senhor foi presidente da quarta maior democracia do Brasil. O senhor está sendo acusado de participar ou planejar golpe de Estado.
You were almost assassinated, sir. You're barred from running again for president.
O senhor foi quase assassinado e também foi tornado inelegível.
You're being investigated for allegedly participating in the January 8th riots, COVID mishandling, an alleged coup, and financial irregularities.
Você está sendo investigado pelo 8 de janeiro por ditos crimes financeiros também.
Many of your closest allies have been arrested, and your passport has been confiscated, sir.
Muitos dos seus aliados foram presos e seu passaporte foi confiscado.
And yet you have the support of almost half the country, or about half the country, more or less.
Você continua tendo um apoio gigantesco no Brasil de pelo menos metade da população.
My question to you, sir, is a difficult one. Looking back at all this, and I've asked the same question to other prime minister, another prime minister who's been on my stage, who's been targeted in a similar way. My question to you, sir, do you regret taking the path of becoming the president of Brazil, and do you regret any decisions you've taken since you became president?
A pergunta dele é: o senhor se tem alguma dúvida, o senhor sente que foi um erro, talvez, de ter concorrido à presidência? Você sente algum remorso a isso? Ou algum remorso em termos de ter feito alguma coisa na presidência, baseado em todos esses fatos que ele acabou de relatar?
Bem, primeiro eu cheguei à presidência, um telefone celular nas minhas mãos e um filho meu que foi meu marqueteiro.
So he's saying that he basically got to the presidency solely by a phone on his hands, using social media, and one of his sons being his marketing leader, the person that was in charge of marketing his campaign through social media alone.
Ninguém esperava no Brasil essa possibilidade, porque eu era apenas um deputado que não tinha um grande partido, não tinha fundo partidário, não tinha imprensa totalmente contra mim. Então, isso fez com que alertasse o que chama de sistema no Brasil, para que não se voltasse, né, alguém com o meu perfil ser presidente do Brasil.
So it wasn't really foreseen by anybody that he had a chance. It was really a lot of people discounted it, but a lot of people in this, in the government and established in the system also started paying attention to what he was doing as a result of the attention he attracted on social media.
Todas as acusações contra mim não passam de narrativas. Nada em contra, porque eu não cometi crime algum. Muito menos a tentativa de golpe.
Everything he's been accused of is narrative building. He's never engaged in any such thing that he's been accused of, especially not the coup narrative that's been portrayed upon him.
O 8 de janeiro, que aconteceu aqui, é parecido com o Capitólio nos Estados Unidos. Paderneiros que invadiram prédios públicos e não havia ali nenhuma liderança, nenhuma força armada, nada para justificar uma tentativa de golpe.
So January 8th is very similar to the January 6th incident in the U.S., where it's really a disorganized crowd of people that invaded without any serious organization or weaponry whatsoever. Just people that went to, they invaded it and destroyed it in some sense, but there was no level of organization that went behind this attempt, similar to January 6th.
Nós fizemos ao longo do nosso mandato despertar a atenção do brasileiro, o que era política. O povo brasileiro vivia anestesiado, não sabia o que era política. Comigo, o povo começou a entender o que é a política, quais são as potencialidades do Brasil, e nós fizemos um governo que realmente deixou a maioria do povo brasileiro bastante feliz.
So before Bolsonaro was president, there was a lot of people that weren't paying attention to politics in Brazil. A lot of people didn't pay attention before a lot of events took place. And when Bolsonaro took office in 2018, people did pay attention. People in Brazil are very political now. And he also says that people in Brazil were very, very happy with how he conducted himself in government.
Tanto é verdade que nós continuamos arrastando multidões pelo Brasil, enquanto que o atual presidente não consegue 5% da quantidade de pessoas para botar nas ruas. Ou seja, há uma preocupação.
I'll say rapidinho. So he's basically saying, this is easy to see because everywhere I go as president in Brazil, you see crowds, massive crowds that follow us everywhere across the country. Whereas the person in power now, the president now, can maybe gather at most 5% of what Bolsonaro gathers when he's going to different cities in Brazil.
Mr. President, you said at one of your rallies that you have, I'm going to read out your exact quote. I have 3 options for my future: getting arrested, killed, or winning. I'll continue the question after you translate, Mario.
Então, presidente, está falando que antes da eleição você falou que tinha 3 coisas que poderiam acontecer com o senhor. Você poderia ser eleito, preso ou morto. Continue.
The former Prime Minister of Pakistan was arrested weeks after joining MySpace, obviously unrelated to the space, but related to the political targeting he was facing.
O ex-primeiro-ministro do Paquistão foi preso no Paquistão semanas após participar desse mesmo Space que o Mário está fazendo, não por causa do Space em si, mas ocorreu o fato que semanas após o primeiro-ministro paquistanês participar, ele foi preso.
I'm going to ask you a personal question, sir, that I asked the Prime Minister as well. Are you mentally prepared, sir, to be in jail? And what do you think is the likelihood that you'll either be, and I apologize for, again, a seemingly insensitive question, but that there'll either be an attempt on your life, or that there will be an attempt, or that you will be jailed, similar, as you said in your quote at a previous rally, sir?
Ele entende que essa é uma pergunta bem sensível, ele entende que ele pede desculpas por isso, mas ele queria saber se o senhor, baseado no que o senhor falou no passado, se ocorresse alguma coisa, o senhor estaria preparado para talvez ser preso ou talvez também ocorrer um novo atentado na sua vida?
Olha, a história do Brasil nos últimos anos tem se mostrado que as pessoas mais à direita, né, têm sido executadas aqui por ocasião de disputas. A mais famosa é de um ex-prefeito, Celso Daniel, em 2002.
He's saying that there has been cases in the past where people, especially on the right, have been targeted, especially in ways that you have said, in murder. And one of these cases he's speaking about is a mayor in a small city of Brazil. His name is Celso Daniel. Pode continuar.
O meu caso, a tentativa de assassinato minha, ocorreu em setembro de 2018. Nós não temos... eu entendo que a parte da Polícia Federal que investigou não quis chegar à conclusão de quem foi o mandante, que para nós daria para ser descoberto se a Polícia Federal, essa parte da Polícia Federal, fizesse uma investigação adequada.
He's saying that the attempt on his life occurred in September of 2018, and the federal police that was put in charge of investigating the perpetrator and the motives and everything that behind the attempt simply did not take the appropriate actions. And the president believes that things could have been truly resolved and cleared up for the Brazilian people if the agents who were in charge of this case did go about truly trying to understand what took place there.
Mr. President, sorry, go ahead, sir.
Pode continuar, presidente.
As provas de possível interferência via censura têm que vir de vocês. Nós não temos como conseguir essas possíveis provas.
He's saying that in terms of censorship, he just wants to say that in terms of censorship, it would have to come, the proof and the evidence of censorship would have to come outside of Brazil, because Brazil today doesn't have the mechanisms to uncover and produce the evidence of censorship in Brazil.
Mr. President, it is hard for me to even believe what's happening right now, that a former president of one of the largest democracies cannot even join a space without being censored, and took him half an hour to be able to join a space through an alternative account. This is the former president of a democratic or allegedly democratic country. I'll still call it a democracy at stake. So my question to you, sir, is what is your warning? What is your warning to the largest democracy in the world, the United States, if the censorship there continues and goes down the path of Brazil?
Ele está falando que para ele é quase chocante ver que o ex-presidente de uma nação tão grande como o Brasil teve tanta, com a censura que está passando, teve tanta dificuldade para entrar no Space hoje, entrar numa conta alterna, e para ele é chocante, ele nunca imaginou que ia ver isso. Ele queria saber se o senhor vê alguma coisa paralela com os Estados Unidos, qual é o seu aviso para os Estados Unidos em relação ao que o senhor está passando e o que o Brasil passa hoje.
O que a gente espera nesse trabalho feito pela Comissão de Direitos Humanos do Parlamento americano se aprofunde as investigações junto a outras plataformas também, não apenas o X ou o Twitter. É isso que a gente espera para poder realmente partirmos, né? Para que uma situação onde a liberdade de expressão seja respeitada aqui no Brasil.
He's saying that beyond just X and the investigations that are occurring now as a result of X being public about what's going on in censorship in Brazil, he hopes that other platforms in Brazil that have also faced censorship as a result of the government in Brazil also come public, and we can learn about what's going on in these other platforms as well. Pode continuar, presidente.
Nós temos exemplo do passado, por exemplo, Jason Miller, assessor de Trump, após ele falar no CEPAC dos Estados Unidos, foi detido no aeroporto. Temos também o jornalista Sérgio Tavares, português, que foi detido em 25 de fevereiro no aeroporto aqui de São Paulo, para que se evitasse, no mínimo, que ele fizesse a cobertura desse ato fantástico que foi feito na Avenida Paulista aqui, com quase 1 milhão de pessoas presentes.
So he's saying that there have been cases of foreigners in Brazil who have faced problems by going to Brazil. One example is current Trump advisor Jason Miller, who went to Brazil for CPAC in September 2021, and he was briefly detained at the airport in Brasilia on his return to the United States, being questioned about whatever involvement he might have with supporting Bolsonaro or Trump in Brazil. And there was also another Portuguese journalist from Portugal named Sérgio Tavares who was stopped at the São Paulo airport to come as a journalist to cover the pro-Bolsonaro rallies that have been happening in the last few months. And these are two cases just so you see that, you know, this is beyond Brazilians. This is happening to people outside of Brazilian and non-Brazilians.
Mr. President, how far... So I'm going to read out a quote by Elon Musk. Quote, "We need to get our employees to a safe place. Otherwise, not in a position of responsibility, then we will do a full data dump. They have been told they will be arrested." So essentially, Elon's saying that he needs to get his employees in a safe place or they will be arrested. How far could Elon go in his fight against censorship, especially with the risk of X being completely banned in Brazil? We're already seeing this space being blocked in Brazil, as you personally experienced.
Ele falou que o Elon relatou que os empregados do X no Brasil correm, né, esse risco do que está acontecendo agora, e que através de proteger e conseguir levar segurança a esses empregados, ele levaria a informação à tona do que está acontecendo no Brasil. Como que o senhor vê isso e até onde o Elon Musk pode ir nessa briga pela liberdade de expressão no Brasil?
Eu acredito, como eu disse, esse depoimento de alguns brasileiros e do próprio jornalista Michel Schellenberger no dia 7 agora, nos Estados Unidos, bem como a possível ida do Elon Musk para também testemunhar o que ele vê com provas, o que está acontecendo na liberdade de expressão no Brasil.
He's saying that what he sees as most important and the most likely and possible scenario here for Elon is to join individuals such as Michael Schellenberger and other people that have been investigating and covering the issues in Brazil to go and testify and bring information potentially through the U.S. Congress. That is most likely the safest route to get this done that he thinks of at this time.
Mr. President, you mentioned other social media companies, and I'm going to read out some revelations from the Twitter files on that. But before doing so, going back to Elon, there is a criminal investigation into Elon. His employees are being targeted. Even people that are joining this fight, like myself and other panelists on stage, are being included in that investigation. And I've pinned a tweet in which I'm personally being targeted, and I'm not even a Brazilian citizen. I'm an Australian citizen, just for hosting this space. How far do you think the censorship is going to go? And what do you think will be the outcome of this investigation into Elon, myself, and others?
Então, como o senhor deve saber, agora, com tudo que ocorreu nesses últimos tempos com o Elon Musk e o Brasil, pessoas como o Elon Musk, inclusive Mário Naufal, ele, que está fazendo esse space, são incluídos como investigados no Brasil. Ele quer saber até qual nível, até qual limite, se tiver qualquer limite, na sua opinião do senhor, da censura, ou até onde vai essa censura se pessoas como o Elon Musk e o Mário Naufal podem ser incluídos em investigações no Brasil.
Olha, o que eu vejo, eu mesmo, né? nós temos tremenda dificuldade para termos liberdade de nossa opinião ainda aqui no Brasil. Esse depoimento no Parlamento americano, dia 7, com brasileiros, né, como Paulo Figueiredo, talvez o Alan, entre outros, possam realmente trazer luzes para essa questão da falta de liberdade no Brasil. E a gente espera que o Elon Musk realmente apresente essas provas de interferências e censura no Brasil que tem influenciado na vida de todos nós aqui.
So he's saying that, there's Brazilians who will be attending this censorship hearing in the United States in Congress here next week, including journalists such as Paulo Figueiredo, potentially Alan dos Santos. So their testimony will be very important for the world to see what's going on, and maybe maybe we can see where the limits in Brazil go from there. But he doubled down also in saying that Elon Musk's revelations to the world via U.S. Congress or via other methods will be most likely the most essential piece here to see what the next steps will be in the Brazil censorship crisis.
Mr. President, you talked about other social media companies. Well, journalist Michael Schellenberger, in the Twitter files, he put out the following. They revealed that Google, Facebook, Uber, WhatsApp, and Instagram betrayed the people of Brazil by providing Brazilian government with personal registration data and telephone numbers without a court order, allegedly violating the law. Have the other social media companies done anything to fight censorship, or is Elon leading that fight alone?
O Mário disse que o Michael Schellenberg, o jornalista, no Twitter Files, revelou que outras empresas, como o senhor mencionou, outras empresas de mídia social, aí, Instagram e outros, revelaram informações privilegiadas sem pedido da justiça. No Brasil, como telefones, informações privadas. No Brasil, o senhor vê o que essas empresas têm feito ou fizeram qualquer coisa em relação ao que em comparação ao que o Elon fez, ou como que o senhor vê a atuação dessas empresas de mídia social no Brasil que não são fora o X?
As empresas podem ter sido pressionadas a aceitar certas determinações, censurando a todos aqui no Brasil. E, repito, a censura caiu basicamente em cima da direita no Brasil. Quem estava do meu lado foi censurado. Temos dezenas de exemplos nesse sentido.
So he's saying that the courts could the social media companies could easily have been pressured by the courts to do acts that you just listed there. So it's hard to say exactly, but it's certain. One thing is certain is that the people that have been targeted in Brazil have always been people on the right side of the political spectrum.
And do you think, you did mention that the people that were targeted were people on the right. There's a lot of allegations of censorship even when you were president, sir. So my question to you is, as Elon said, is this an issue of the right versus the left? Or is this an issue of systematic centralization of power leading to censorship that could be abused by either the right or the left? So censorship is a bipartisan issue. Would you agree, sir? That is currently being abused by the left, for now.
Ele falou que houve censura na época, quando o senhor era presidente ainda. Ele quer entender se o senhor acredita mesmo que a censura é uma censura partidária que busca atender só um lado político, ou se a censura existe para todos os lados, mas somente a esquerda tem monopolizado a censura porque está no poder e está indo atrás da direita nesse momento.
Olha, a grande imprensa tradicional, a grande maioria dela é favorável à esquerda. Para nós sobraram apenas as mídias sociais. E para nos calar de vez, desgastar pessoas na política da direita, nós entendemos que a censura se fez presente desde antes das minhas eleições, desmonetizando páginas, derrubando páginas e até constrangendo a pessoas com visitas do parte da Polícia Federal.
So he's saying that the Brazilian media itself, the establishment media in Brazil, has always been a partner of the left, which remains, for the right, the only thing that they have to counter that is social media. But before he was ever president, there was already censorship happening in terms of his followers had their pages demonetized, and these things happened before even his presidency, and now even during his presidency, now after his presidency, the federal police have paid visits to several of his followers and supporters. I'll add some context. He didn't say this, but I'll just add context for you. The raids that have been happening on people in Brazil on the right were happening while Bolsonaro was also president. Just so you understand, this hasn't started after Bolsonaro left the presidency. This started before, during the Bolsonaro presidency, the raids and all those things.
Eu entendo aqui que essas provas têm que vir de vocês. Nós não temos as provas aqui. Temos o sentimento do que aconteceu. As provas vêm, no meu entender, virão do parlamento americano, dos testemunhos das pessoas, em especial aí do nosso Mitchell Schellenberg e do próprio Musk, caso ele vá depor no parlamento americano.
He reiterated that, it's very unlikely that Brazil itself, or within Brazil, the evidence of the censorship will be uncovered and produced. So the hope of Brazilians really is coming now to people like Michael Schellenberger and Elon Musk and through the U.S. Congress to testify and bring this information to light. That is the only mechanism that he sees available for this information to be public.
Mr. President, my next question for you is about being ineligible to run for president again. Sorry for being kind of distracted. I'm facing a lot of issues in the space. Just for the audience again, tell you how difficult it is running the space. The space is being censored live, and the former president is joining from an alternative account. No need to translate, Mario. He's joining from an alt account, and it took us more than half an hour to get him on stage, even trying different accounts. That's the level of censorship we're facing. And we're talking about the fourth largest democracy. Well, in the largest democracy, the US, remember, Trump himself was censored from Twitter as well. Don't forget that. And we've talked about other political leaders in other countries being censored. We've been fighting for free speech in multiple countries. Mr. President, you're ineligible. You're unable to run for president again at the next election. Is there any way you can actually reverse that ban from running for president? And if not, how will the next presidential election look like if you're not able to run?
A próxima pergunta, presidente, é sobre sua elegibilidade agora, né? Ele quer saber se há alguma forma de reverter essa inelegibilidade que o senhor tem para concorrer para presidente, e caso isso não possa ser revertido, como o senhor vê a próxima eleição presidencial agora que vem em 2026? Como que iria ocorrer essa eleição presidencial caso o senhor não possa concorrer?
A minha inelegibilidade veio porque eu me reuni com embaixadores aqui no Brasil. Foi uma resposta que eu dei ao próprio presidente do TSE à época, que 2 meses antes havia se reunido com embaixadores também. Não justifica essa reunião com embaixadores a minha inelegibilidade. Que nenhum motivo. O motivo, no meu entender, não tem peso nenhum, mas o TSE, a Justiça Eleitoral aqui é partido. No momento, a maioria são integrantes, são partidários.
So he's saying that...
Existe a possibilidade de reverter a elegibilidade, no meu entender, no momento é via Parlamento Brasileiro.
He's saying that he became ineligible as a result of meeting with ambassadors in Brazil. It was due to meeting with ambassadors, the electoral court turned him ineligible, which doesn't make any sense in his view. But that was the reasoning and the whole motivation behind making him unelectable. And the only route that he sees currently for a potential reversal in this situation would be through the Brazilian Congress. That's how he sees it currently.
Just to kind of give you an idea of how insane this is, anyone in Brazil, and you can translate this, Mario, for the audience, I've faced a lot of craziness hosting these spaces, from covering a mutiny in Russia to covering a prime minister that's being targeted and that was, fearing his life, Prime Minister of Pakistan fearing his life, to having Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden, on stage, to covering the wars. I've had a lot of crazy moments, and this is definitely one of the top ones. Everyone in Brazil can only join this space through VPN, and now even VPNs are being blocked in Brazil. So make sure everyone in the audience, please retweet the space and say that you need a VPN to join the space if you're in Brazil. That's the level of censorship we're facing. Mario, if you could say this to the audience, please, sir, and then I'll ask Mr. President, other question. Go ahead, Mario.
So, o que o Mário disse para o pessoal que está ouvindo, não para o presidente, é que ele já passou muitas situações estranhas e malucas, vamos dizer, entrevistando autoridades de outros países, fazendo cobertura de outros eventos pelo mundo, como na Rússia e no Paquistão, mas ele é um dos eventos mais estranhos e fora do normal que ele está observando hoje, é que não só no Brasil as pessoas estão precisando usar VPN para entrar nessa transmissão, como as pessoas que já têm VPN no Brasil estão relatando que não estão, nem com VPN estão conseguindo entrar. Então, o Mário dizendo que é provável que até VPNs estão sendo derrubados no Brasil. E se esse é o caso, o seu caso, alguém que está ouvindo está com dificuldade de ouvir ou está com problemas de VPN, por favor, tweete essa informação e avise a gente aqui o que está ocorrendo com a sua situação. Mario, go ahead if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, and Mario, I'm starting to send you, just make it easier for you. Any question I ask, I'm just sending it to you via DM on WhatsApp to make it easier for you.
Thank you. Yeah,
so that's the next question.
It's not
Journalist,
been too easy.
No problem, thank you. A journalist, Michael Schellenberger, said the following, and he's been very, very vocal about censorship in the US and, of course, in Brazil. He said the following: at the moment, Brazil is not yet a dictatorship. It still holds elections, and the Brazilian people have other means at their disposal to confront authoritarianism. But the Federal Supreme Court and the Superior Electoral Court are directly interfering in those elections through censorship. So, Mr. President, if we continue going down this path, and if this does not change, if there's no change in Brazil, and if everything continues as it has been over the last few weeks and months, and even years, how will Brazil look like in the next 5 and 10 years? Even 1 or 2 years, let alone a decade.
Então, presidente, a pergunta dele é baseada no que o Michael Schellenberg disse, que ele falou assim, nesse momento, o Brasil não é uma ditadura plena. Ainda tem eleições e as pessoas têm outros caminhos e meios à sua disposição para enfrentar o autoritarismo. Mas a Suprema Corte dos Estados Unidos e o TSE também estão diretamente interferindo nas eleições através da censura. Se continuar nesse patamar, o que o senhor vê vai acontecer ou pode acontecer com a democracia no Brasil?
Olha, a nossa democracia está ameaçada há algum tempo. Algumas autoridades do Brasil dizem que infringiram leis para salvar a democracia, entregando, ou melhor, elegendo, uma pessoa que tem uma vida bastante voltada, com muitas amizades com ditadores pelo mundo todo, que é o atual presidente da República.
So Brazil's democracy has actually been under threat for a while now. We've seen these acts continuously taking place in Brazil. And, the current government in Brazil, especially speaking here about the executive power in Brazil today, have very affinity and friendships with a lot of dictatorships around the world. And these are some examples I can name here for you to know is, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba. These are friendly regimes currently with the Brazilian government. So Brazil's democracy has been under threat for quite some time.
And I've got just some more information here I just received. I'm going to send it to you now, Mario. This is pretty crazy. Someone just sent me through that information, and we're going to be tweeting it. This is crazy. So I'm going to read out the exact tweet. At the time of the current space with President Bolsonaro and myself, the Kaspersky website shows intense cyber attacks on Brazil in real time. This places Brazil and the USA among the 3 most attacked countries right now as we speak. So there's a massive spike in cyber attacks, intense cyber attacks in Brazil. And I want to remind the audience, the former president of the 4th democracy, the 4th largest democracy, is currently using Elon's Starlink to access this space. Another example of Starlink playing a role, not only Twitter, X, but also Starlink playing a role in fighting censorship. Again, President Bolsonaro said it himself at the beginning of the show. He is using Starlink to access this space, to be able to speak on a social media platform. Mario, please translate this for the audience before I ask my question, but this is crazy.
Isso é uma outra informação que o Mário quer que eu passe aqui para o público que está ouvindo. Ele acabou de receber informações que nesse momento, durante essa live, no X, o site Kaspersky está mostrando intensos ataques cibernéticos no Brasil, nesse exato momento ocorrendo no Brasil. Isso coloca o Brasil e os Estados Unidos entre os 3 países mais atacados no momento no mundo em termos de ataques cibernéticos ocorrendo no Brasil. Essa informação que o Mário Naufal acabou de me passar do site Kaspersky, e ele lembrando também para o público que está ouvindo que o presidente do Brasil está usando Starlink para poder acessar essa live. Go ahead, Mario, if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, of course. And just more information that anyone listening right now from the media, anyone that has a big following, use your platform. I don't care if it's YouTube, I don't care if it's X, I don't care if it's a TV station or radio station to broadcast this, because I want to mention something. I actually agree with a lot of President Lula's policies and stances from a political perspective, and I disagree with a lot of stances of President Bolsonaro. That's me having an opinion, as with everyone else in this space. But I am doing this because I'm against centralization of power and censorship. So I think no matter what your political position is, censorship should never be okay, and we're seeing the ugly side of it right now. Mario, please translate this, and I will ask my question right after. I apologize for being so passionate.
De novo, isso é para o público ainda, a pergunta não veio, mas ele está falando que ele está pedindo para as pessoas que têm, jornalistas, pessoas que estão acompanhando essa live, que têm uma audiência, seja para o YouTube ou por outros canais, que distribui essa live, passa essa live adiante para as pessoas poderem ver e acompanhar. E o Mário Naufal mesmo acabou de dizer que ele, pessoalmente, tem até visões, né, que ele se alinha politicamente em várias coisas com o presidente Lula e discorda com o presidente Bolsonaro, mas ele acha um absurdo que o fato que ele tem o direito de ter uma opinião. E o mais absurdo dessa questão não é uma questão partidária, uma questão de não concordar politicamente com alguém, mas a questão da liberdade de expressão que está em jogo. E ele acha que isso que tem que ser, a batalha tem que ser nesse caminho, não em termos de briga partidária. Go ahead, Mario.
Thank you. My question here to the president. I'm going to read out a quote from Elon. And by the way, just for the record, Elon was on our space about 2 weeks ago talking about censorship in Brazil. And ironically, that space also crashed. So you could, put your conspiracy hat on for that. But he said the following. The final straw in terms of censoring X, the final straw is when we were given demands to suspend journalists and sitting members of parliament. And moreover, we could not tell them this was at the behest of Moraes. So X had to ban those people, and they couldn't say that Justice Moraes was the reason they were banned. They had a request from Justice Moraes and the Supreme Court to ban those accounts. They couldn't even disclose that. We had to pretend it's because of our rules of service, of breaking our rules of service. That was the final straw, and we said no. In response to Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes, who then initiated an investigation into Elon for allegedly conducting, quote, a disinformation campaign and obstructing Brazilian justice. So de Moraes also accused Musk of inciting and being part of a criminal organization, citing his actions as a threat to Brazilian democracy. And he obviously threatened to ban X. My question to the president, and I want him to speak directly to Elon. What is your message to Elon in his fight against the Supreme Court in Brazil and the government in Brazil and their attempt to censor? And how far can Elon go in this fight?
Então ele está falando outra frase aqui do Elon que, né, que a última gota para ele foi quando eles receberam demandas para suspender jornalistas e membros do Parlamento brasileiro. E também eles não podiam falar que essas demandas estavam vindo diretamente de Moraes. Eles tiveram que fingir que eram as regras do Twitter que estavam cumprindo. E essa foi a última gota, e ele disse não. Em resposta, o ministro iniciou a investigação contra o Musk por conduzir uma campanha de desinformação e obstruindo a justiça brasileira. E ainda que o Moraes acusou o Musk de incitar e participar de uma organização criminosa, e citando que as ações dele tinham ameaçado a democracia brasileira. E o que o Moraes também ameaçou o X. A pergunta dele é, até o que o senhor acha do que o Elon Musk disse, qual a sua visão do que o Elon Musk tem dito, que tem feito, e até onde o Elon Musk pode lutar, mesmo através aqui dos Estados Unidos, até onde ele pode, qual o limite, se tiver qualquer limite que ele pode fazer para lutar com isso.
Quando o Elon Musk esteve no Brasil em 22, eu chamei de mito da liberdade. Não justifica, no meu entender, uma acusação dessa contra o Musk, buscando aí atingir a soberania brasileira e botar um fim em nossa democracia, porque com censura não há Starlink, não há liberdade de expressão, não há democracia.
He's saying that, when Musk visited Brazil a few years ago, when he was still president, he called Elon Musk the legend of free speech, legend of liberty, a liberty freedom-fighting legend. And everything that Elon just said there is clear proof and shows that you can have democracy in these situations. If you ban companies such as Starlink or even X, or companies like this from a country because of disagreements, as Elon just listed there, as he explained, you can't have a true democracy or a free country.
Mr. President, the question I have for you is a bit of a difficult one for you. President Lula was unable to run for president when you were running for president because he was imprisoned for alleged corruption. The investigation that led to his conviction was headed by Judge Sergio Moro, who then became your Minister of Justice. President Lula was then released. Let me send you that question, Mario. President Lula was then released from prison after less than 2 years following a Supreme Court decision under Chief Justice Diaz Toffoli, who was appointed by President Lula himself. My question to you here is less political. Are we seeing a struggle between both the left and right to have more control of the Supreme Court? And are both sides abusing power and censoring because the Brazilian system itself is broken? Or in your opinion, is this purely a political issue on the left? Is it an issue of both the left and the right? Or would you say it's an issue of only the left? And I hope your answer would be that it's an issue that applies to both sides.
Então, presidente, ele está falando aqui que o Lula estava inelegível quando o senhor foi preso por corrupção antes de concorrer para presidente. A investigação que chegou à prisão do Lula foi liderada pelo juiz Sérgio Moro, que depois virou seu ministro da Justiça. O Lula foi solto depois de menos de 2 anos, seguindo a decisão aqui que ele fala que foi do Dias Toffoli, mas eu creio que do Fachin, mas Dias Toffoli aqui, que foi indicado pelo Lula, pelo próprio Lula. Você está vendo uma disputa, uma briga entre a esquerda e a direita pelo controle da Suprema Corte? E a outra pergunta os dois lados, na sua visão, os dois lados, a direita e a esquerda, estão abusando o poder de censura? Porque o sistema brasileiro não funciona, ou o senhor acha que é uma questão partidária só de um lado que vai atrás do outro lado?
Olha, a Suprema Corte brasileira tem um forte viés político, que indica as pessoas para compor a Suprema Corte são os respectivos presidentes da República daquela época. Então, isso, no fundo, sempre uma pequena quebra de isenção no tocante a isso aí. E nós sabemos aqui no Brasil que a Suprema Corte, a grande maioria dos ministros foram indicados pela esquerda e influenciam nesses julgamentos.
So he's saying that the Supreme Court has had a strong political bias in Brazil, and it's been very clear here over time that politics has played a clear role in the Supreme Court. And to your point, as regards to the members of the court today, the large majority of the members that are there now in the Supreme Court were appointed by former left-wing presidents. So that is an accurate assessment of the situation.
Mr. President, we do have U.S. congressmen in the audience right now listening. Congressmen who have been vocal against censorship in the U.S., who some of them we've had on stage. They're listening to the Space Live right now, and I'm sure many will listen to the recording. What is your message, sir, to these lawmakers of the largest democracy in the world, the United States of America?
ele está dizendo que, nesse momento, tem membros do Congresso americano que estão ouvindo essa space. Tem gente ouvindo. São deputados que estão bem opostos e falam contra a censura nos Estados Unidos de forma bastante direta, constantemente. Qual que é a sua mensagem para esses deputados americanos da maior democracia do mundo aqui, que estão ouvindo a gente?
Olha, os Estados Unidos têm uma grande influência pelo mundo. E nós sabemos que aí, ainda, né, a liberdade de expressão existe e vocês realmente são democratas. Eu quero dizer que continuem, participem desse evento no dia 7 de janeiro e colaborem com as investigações para que a censura deixe de existir no mundo. Porque sem democracia, né, sem liberdade de expressão, não há democracia.
He's saying that the U.S. is, a beacon of freedom in the world and a true free democracy. So his recommendation to the U.S. congressmen who are listening is to continue to fight and to, if they can, attend the hearing that will be taking place next week, May 7th, I believe, Tuesday, to continue getting this message out and learning more about what's going on in Brazil, because freedom of speech and liberty is essential for free countries and democracy.
Mr. President, can you give us examples of how, and at first I do want to mention another thing, to make the space even crazier, the former president is actually joining us while being hospitalized. The team is posting videos of the president speaking on an alternative account. For anyone that doesn't know, including the congressman in the audience, the former president is actually using an alternative account to speak because he couldn't join from his main account and his other alternative account, to show you the level of censorship. But they have posted videos of him speaking on the space while being hospitalized. You can see the tube coming out of his arm. So I just want to thank the former president for not only joining while being censored, but also joining while being hospitalized. If you could please thank the president for that and mention that for the audience, Mario. And then my question is a very short question. I can add it as well. Mr. President,
can I translate that first real quick?
Sure.
Então, primeiro, presidente, ele quer agradecer ao senhor pelo fato que o senhor está nessa live, não só pela censura que o senhor passou para poder participar disso, mas como a situação que o senhor também foi hospitalizado hoje e teve esses encontros médicos, e que o senhor participou dessa live. O Mário Naufal quer agradecer muito que você fez isso, e tem uma pergunta agora que eu vou traduzir. Go ahead, Mario.
Mr. President, and I do want to ask Congressman Gustavo a question shortly as well, and Congressman Eduardo, the President's son, a question. But, Mr. President, the way your allies are being targeted, it's hard to say it's not politically motivated, even though I try not to take sides. Can you give us some examples of how you, your family, your allies, and your supporters are being targeted and censored? Just to give an idea of the global audience and the American audience listening right now, and other democracies listening right now, of what censorship and what centralization of power looks like.
Ele está dizendo que, na visão dele, é praticamente impossível negar que, de fato, a censura está sendo bastante partidária no Brasil. Ele não consegue negar isso, e, de fato, é o que parece que está ocorrendo. Ele queria saber se o senhor poderia relatar exemplos específicos do que tem passado, o que essas pessoas que estão sendo perseguidas ou censuradas no Brasil, o que elas estão passando hoje.
Olha, como eu disse, a imprensa tradicional é de esquerda no Brasil, em sua grande maioria. Para nós sobrou apenas as mídias sociais. E as pessoas influentes do meu lado, quase todas foram censuradas. Então temos vários exemplos disso aqui no Brasil, como, por exemplo, pega-se um grupo de empresários conversando reservadamente e daí resolve acusá-los de golpistas. E ali havia um empresário que tinha uma página com 10 milhões de seguidores, bastante influente no Brasil. Então conseguiram, ao censurar essa página, tirar esse empresário, não tem nada, nunca foi golpista na vida dele, mas conseguiu tirá-lo do ar. E assim sendo, inibe os demais empresários a participar, a participar das eleições. Isso aí, obviamente, só pesou para um lado aqui no Brasil.
So he's saying that, as he mentioned before, the traditional media is on the side of the left, which means that social media is the only mechanism the right has. Most of the people on the right who had very successful social media accounts to push the conservative message, they were censored. They were removed. They were banned. So that's, what he mentioned before, but he added on to say that there's even been Brazilian businessmen, people that were his supporters, that were businessmen, who they themselves were targeted during the election process through their social media pages or through their private messages between themselves. So there's cases of even, people beyond social media, people that are regular businessmen who just tend or follow or support one side, being Bolsonaro's side. They were targeted by simply exchanging private messages with each other, and their social media and other mechanisms were also removed.
My next question for you, President, and I've got a President for Congressman Gustavo afterwards, but I've got a question for Congressman Gustavo. But Mr. President, the question is for you. I want to openly invite sitting President Lula in a very civil conversation, either with me or with another guest, former President Bolsonaro, if President Lula agrees, which I doubt he will, but I'm going to give it a try. But first, I want to give an open invitation live on stage for President Lula to join me in a one-on-one conversation to get his side of this argument. I'd love to always hear both sides on any argument there is. That's what we stand for in this space. So, Mr. President, President Lula, this is an open invitation for you, sir, to join me here on stage to get your take on the same questions that I have. And my question here for President Bolsonaro and Congressman Gustavo. I'll ask Congressman Gustavo first and then get the President's thoughts on it. Congressman Gustavo, we have seen a release of documents by Jim Jordan and the House Judiciary Committee concerning the censorship in Brazil, and especially on X. They included 28 orders issued by Moraes to X, both in Portuguese and English, alongside 23 additional orders that don't have translations. And there's another 37 orders issued by the Supreme Electoral Court of Brazil. They highlight the Brazilian government's actions to censor 300 accounts, including Mr. Bolsonaro, President Bolsonaro's account, and other journalists, including Paulo Figueiredo Filho and of course, Alan Dos Santos, which also helped us organize this space. I want to get more, if you can give us a bit of an overview, Congressman Gustavo, about this document release by Jim Jordan. And then I'd love the President's thoughts on this data dump. But first, Gustavo, I'd love your take on it. If you can give us an overview of this document release, what it included, and your thoughts on it, sir.
Sure, I can do that. But firstly, thank you, Mario, for giving us the platform to shed some light to what's going on in Brazil. We haven't had this opportunity lately, and we were, quite honestly, we were about to lose faith that something could happen. And so I thank you very much. Thank you for having me here on your space. Ever since these files came out publicly and everybody in Brazil started to understand what was going on as one of the biggest scandals in our judiciary system in the history of our country, a lot of